Hello, this is Brother Johnny Williams with another edition of In the Word. First, let me apologize to all of my subscribers and followers for me being absent these past weeks. I've been suffering a tooth problem and it was giving me quite a bit of pain, but I'm a little better now, so I'm going to get back to spreading God's Word. Tonight is going to be a life lessons testimony sermon, and there's a very important message, especially for children and some of you adults. Please listen closely and don't miss it. I'm going to name this sermon Ungreatfulness. We see that so much nowadays. It's like it's growing by leaps and bounds. We've got people that really don't understand the blessings that they have when they have parents or brothers and sisters or grandmothers and grandfathers that actually care about them enough to take time with them, do for them, care for them, and they act as if it means nothing. Well, let me tell you a story here. I had a young man talk to me the other day. He told me he's feeling down because he got put out of his home. And I asked him, why did you get put out? He said, well, I got into an argument with my mom, and my stepdad got mad and said I had to go. And I don't think that's right. I said, let me ask you something. You're still out of your home, right? He said, yes, sir. I said, is your mom, is she still at home with your stepfather? He said, yes, sir. I said, that's the same mother that you said you love and she loves you. He said, yes, sir. I said, well, think about that for a minute. I said, what I want you to do, I want to quote something to you from the Bible. He said, yes, sir. I said, well, I'm going to go to the book of Genesis and I'm going to quote this to you. It says, for that reason, a man shall leave his mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become twain, meaning one. I asked him, do you understand that? He said, no, sir. I said, well, I'm going to talk real here to you from life lessons. I said, you remember this as long as you live. You remember this day and you remember this talk. I said, nothing and no one but God gets between you and your wife. No one. Do you understand that? Well, sir, no, I don't understand because I'm her child. I said, let me quote this to you again. I said, for that reason, a man will leave his mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become twain or one. Do you understand it? No. He still looked. I said, well, I'm going to ask you again, and I'll put it to you another way. That woman that you said love you so much allowed this man that you said don't like you, put you out of her home. You still love your mother, right? Yes, I do. I said, do you think she still loves you? Well, yeah, I do. But I said, well, there's no but. When it comes right down to it, your mother believes in what God says. Nothing gets between her and her husband but the Lord. I said, now, son, you were wrong. I said, first of all, do you pay any bills there? No, sir. Why do you think you have some kind of say-so in your mother's home? That is their home. They care for you. It is their way. You may think you have an opinion, and that's where the problem begins. Now, I'm going to stop right there and let me warn you. Listen closely, brothers and sisters. A lot of these problems that are happening in the home, guess who's causing them? You are. You let your children say what they want to say. You let them talk the way they want to talk. You let them do what they want to do. And you expect them to mind you? No. What you're doing is creating an atmosphere where they think that they think that they're an adult and they can do what they want to do and say what they want to do. And it doesn't work that way. But when these problems arise, you want to come running to other people asking for guidance and advice. A good idea. But if you walk with God, if you read these scriptures and you practice these scriptures and these stories, you don't have to run to anybody because it's right there in front of you in black and white. Now, a lot of people, excuse me again, a lot of people don't like this kind of talk. Well, brother, you're not, preaching traditional preaching. Well, I don't. I'm going to talk real to you. Fine. We can read these stories, in Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers and all that. We can read those stories, but they're stories. They're God's stories from people that he used all the way back then as a guideline for us, the way we live now. Let me say it again. These are stories that happen. They are for us to use as a guideline for the way we live now. I think a lot of people forget that. Things have changed, but the spirit of things should not change. And the one thing that should not change is, and I need you people to remember this, we are the ones, us adults, are the ones that are paving the way for our children, the ones that we will leave behind. This life that you say that you cherish and you love so much and you want to see better. Again, a lot of you shake your head and you say, he preaches about the same thing all the time. Well, why don't you look and see why I continually preach about the same thing all the time? Because it is what is relevant and it is what is happening here and now. We got children that are killing people. We have children with no respect at all about anything. And we keep getting on the children. It is not the children. It is the adults. Babies having babies. I told another person this phrase that I have adopted. And I'm going to say it again. Pay attention. If you can catch it, pay attention. Nothing cannot teach nothing to be something. If you can take this pen here and you don't put any ink in it, it will not write. But if you put ink in this pen, it will write. It's just something simple. Take a child. Mine is a very complex thing. If you allow something to form its own opinions, which eventually it will do when it gets to a point where it can't, or it thinks it can't learn any more from you, then it starts forming its own opinion and start living the way it thinks. That's nothing to do with whether it's right or wrong. It's the way it thinks. That is because it hasn't been given any guidance. And again, I'll say this. Sometimes you can give all the guidance in the world and it does no good. We see it happen all the time. There's some good families out there. Mistakes are going to be made. Look at me. As strong as my mother and grandmother were in the word, I made a lot of mistakes. Thank God he kept his arm around me and kept me safe because he had a purpose for me. But a lot of people fell by the wayside because of improper guidance. Yeah, I'm gonna keep telling you again and again and again and again and again and again. I'm gonna keep using scenarios over and over and over and over again. I am not here to make you feel good. I'm here to tell you the truth. And if you are a man and a woman of God, if you want to feel good, then you should be able to accept the truth, wherever it comes from. Now, again, it is our fault. You see, we can take charge of our children. We can take charge of these situations. Let me tell you something. I've been in a place where there were some of the most dangerous people in the world. I have slept with some of the most dangerous people in the world. Those people that you hear about on television, that you see in the movies, well, I've been with them, right there beside them. I've also seen them. I've seen the sadness in their eyes in some of them. I've talked to them. I've counseled them. And I see the regret and I see the sadness in their eyes, but for a lot of them, it's too late. My goal is to get to and reach as many as I can before it's too late. I've heard some sad stories of things that have happened. And some of those stories will touch you in a way where it really hits home. I'll let that sink in for a minute. A lot of you parents, you do not know what awaits your children in certain places. You don't know. You children, you don't know what awaits you in certain places. You have no idea. You think that you have an idea, but you have no idea. Don't let it happen to you. Listen to your mother and your father. Sometimes a lot of the things that they tell you, they have to tell you no about something. But when they're telling you that, they're looking at the big picture. They're looking way ahead. They're looking at you getting to be an adult. They're looking at you getting to have children or grandchildren. They're looking at the good time that they can come and sit and talk to you and play with the grandkids and things that really matter. It may sound simple, but take it from me, a living witness. I am so grateful that God kept me here where I can play with my grandchildren, sit and talk with my wife, talk with my children. Those simple things, but they mean so much. But there are so many people never make it there. It's so sad. Every day, a young person is dying needlessly because of improper guidance. Because people are afraid to say anything. People are afraid to do anything. He that know it and not do it will not see the kingdom of God. So you people that are sitting back and seeing these things, and you think you're holding on, you're waiting. What you're doing, by not doing, you're getting blood on your hands that you can't wash off. See, you profess to be a man and a woman of God. And he hears you. And if he's blessing you, he expects you to carry out his commandments. And part of his commandments are you fellowshipping and helping your fellow man. Either by talking, disciplining, proper guidance. Now, I'm using a soft tone here because this is very, 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 very important. And I would hate to think that it has faded away to the point where there is no hope. There are certain things that have happened back in history when things got so bad that God had to act. The Great Flood, why everything, save a few, was destroyed. Can you imagine how bad it had to be for him to destroy everything that he created, save a few? When you look around today, do you think that it's that bad? Read the scriptures. These things are coming to be. He said he wouldn't destroy like he did before. Because see, we know his son is coming back to claim his own. And we want to be in that number. If you want to be in that number, study your scriptures and fellowship and follow his commandments. Pray hard every day. Live. Struggle to live as he commands us. I'm going to close on that. As always, we're getting better all the time. We're getting better all the time. We aren't what we ought to be, but we are better than we used to be. You know why? Because we have a made up mind. Thank you, and God bless you.